everyone, and welcome to Gierok Farms. Yesterday morning and this afternoon I've been working on my fleet of vehicles. I got all the vehicles cleaned up. Got to keep that salt off of them, got to keep them fresh and clean. I put a wheel bearing in my little commuter car. But anyways, I thought it was a good day and I figured I'd take a couple minutes to show you the new member of the fleet here. It is a 2017 Chevy 3500 HD. It's got the crew cab, it's got the long box, the 8-foot bed, and it's a full 4 doors. It's a full crew cab here, which I'm very excited about. It's nice to have a bit of an upgrade. Obviously I bought it used. It's got about 125,000 miles on it, and it was well taken care of. I have been looking for a replacement truck for a couple months now, and I found this one just with sheer luck. So the day I went to look for a truck that I thought I was bringing home, it wasn't the one. I looked at 3 different trucks all the way up in Brainerd, Minnesota, which is about 4 or 5 hours from us here. So it was a bit of a hike, but I found a truck that I thought I'd really like. So I went up there to look at it, and there was other ones nearby, so I looked at those other 2 as well. And the main truck I wanted to look at, it had some flaws. It looked a lot better in the pictures. It sounded like a lot better deal than what it was once we got there in person and looked at it. It claimed to be a Southern truck. It wasn't. It was just the frame was just coated with one of those chassis saver products, so it looked nice, but it was rusty underneath, and it wasn't a true Southern truck, rust free, all that. And then the other 2 I went to look at, they weren't terrible. They were priced kind of high, and they were from South Dakota, and you could tell that they were true work trucks, that the guys that had them before, the companies that had them before, they really put them to work. The one truck spent a lot of time on gravel. So anyways, we left there without anything to show for it. I was pretty disappointed, but on the way home, we drove by this truck. This was actually at a small Chevy dealer, about halfway in between Brainerd and home here. It's actually, I'll give them a little bit of a shout out because it was such a nice experience with these guys. It was at Murphy Chevrolet in, I believe you pronounce that, Foley, Minnesota. I was very happy to find this. I was just coming through the intersection, going through that little town there in central Minnesota, and spotted her. So I was like, man, I just had some bad luck with them other trucks. We're already here, we're already making the trip. Let's swing in there and look at it. And that's where we found this. It was the right miles, it was the right engine, the right package, and those guys were good to deal with there. Some of them were farmers on the side, so I could relate to them that way. And I just loved that it was a small town Chevy dealership. This truck was sold brand new at the dealership that I bought it from, and then traded back in to that dealership, obviously, and had service records its whole life at the dealership, oil changes, all that. This truck was a dealer truck. It was sold to a company that worked on cell towers, which I love to hear. So it probably means that most of the miles were highway miles. The only downside is it probably did put some idle hours on. You know, most of the work trucks do when they're sitting on the job site, especially in our climates. And time of year, it made sense to me, being this truck was on the lot in January. More than likely, this truck was probably just traded in because they had a good financial year last year and you know, upgraded into a new truck, probably for tax reasons. At least I'm hoping that's the case. So for the details on this truck, like I said, it's a crew cab long box, which I'm very excited about. It's a truck that my wife and I can grow into as we're starting our family. I shouldn't have to upgrade trucks anytime soon as long as I take care of this one. I definitely don't put a lot of miles on to wear this truck out in a hurry. But as for more specs, it's got the gas engine in it. I don't think I put enough miles on or tow enough to justify the Duramax, even though, of course, it would be nice. It would be awesome to have that premium engine, more horsepower, more torque. But this 6.0 Vortec is a very proven engine. It's a very common engine, and I believe it's paired with a 6-speed transmission. Don't quote me on that, but driving around, that's what it feels like. This is one of the lowest packages for this year. So in 2017, I think they had the work package, the LT, the LTZ, and then like the High Country. I believe those were the packages to choose from with the Chevy lineup, at least with the Silverado trucks. The GMCs had their different names for the trim levels, but this truck has very few options. and once we get in the cab, we'll talk about that more. As for aftermarket stuff, there wasn't really any aftermarket stuff done to this truck, which I really like, other than they did put some running boards on it, these beefy Magnum running boards, which they're starting to grow on me more and more. I thought at first that I would have preferred the conventional style running board, that longer step that's the whole length of the cab, but I like it. They're strong and durable. And then I imagine the guys that had it before me, they probably had some kind of toolboxes in this truck, but there wasn't any clear signs of it. The bed liner is in really good shape. It's a factory bed liner. It's not beat up. It was well taken care of, that's for sure. The only thing I've done to it so far, other than clean it, do an oil change, things like that, look it over, I added this toolbox here, which I got a little cylinder coming for the door, but I'm very excited about this. I used to have this all behind the seat in my old truck, so it's nice to have all the tools I need on board, but out of the way, out of the cab. You know, I got them in a nice spot where they can be dirty and they're not rolling around in the cab. I got tow straps, chains, jumper cables, ratchet straps, some fluid, different receivers for the hitch. I also want to add that it's kind of cool it worked out this way, but this is actually my dad's old toolbox. But if you guys have watched the other videos on the channel, you know that his truck, he has that set up for those side racks, and it was getting real inconvenient for him to be pulling this box on and off, because he was putting those side racks on about half the time he was using the truck. So this has actually been just sitting around in his garage for the past, I think, 15-20 years. Yeah, he said I could put it to work, so happy we got it on a truck and we're using it again. So I feel really prepared. The only real flaws with this truck that I've noticed so far is there's a couple dings here and there, some small dents. They did use this truck, they did work it. But as for the frame, I think it was coated at some point in its life, so it's doing really well. It's very clean. The wheel wells and the cab corners and the rockers are spotless yet. There's no signs of rust developing, which is great in our neck of the woods. Most of the time the truck rusts out before it wears out. I'll take a second here to pop the hood for you guys. Engine bay's really clean. Everything appears to be up to snuff. There's no big red flags when I was under here checking everything out. Back to the story of those other trucks I looked at, like all the rubber grommets in the engine bay on the South Dakota truck were just orange. Whatever type of soil it was driving over, it really stained the components in that truck. It was very noticeable. Where this, it's beautiful. It looks normal. It's clean. But there are signs that it was a Midwestern truck. You know, you got rust here and there's some other spots on the truck that shows some of that, especially underneath. They did put this truck on the hoist for me, so they weren't hiding anything, and it was very obvious that it had been in the Midwest, but it's still very, very clean for trucks in our area. I'll fold down the back seats here. Just look at all that room. Very excited about that. It is nice coming from a two-door 8-foot box to now having a full crew cab here. It's endless amounts of room in my eyes right now. I'm sure we'll fill it up quick and run out of space. And it's like building a shed. You build it really big at first and you think you're never going to fill it, but you do. And that's just kind of that's human nature. That's just kind of the name of the game. But as for this truck and the package it is a work truck model. It's not an LT. It's pretty basic controls and creature comforts. We do have electric windows, which is really nice. Locking doors. One of the added features is we do have a backup camera. But what I'm really excited about is we still have a manual shifter for 4-wheel drive. So we got 4 low, 2-wheel drive, neutral, and then 4 low, which I'm pumped about. This is kind of what I was looking for. I didn't want all the bells and whistles that the top end packages offer. I wanted a very bare bones work truck. I wanted a farm truck that was new and not rusting apart and more than capable of getting the job done when I need it to do a job for me. Because in my eyes, some of those added features can just be a burden. They end up being more things to fix and take care of, especially buying a used truck. I think this is the way to go if you're gonna use it as a work truck. I'm happy I found a work truck package. So we'll start it up here for you guys. Runs very, very smooth. The tack is very simple in this trim model as well. You can see down there, we got 124,147 miles. So hopefully we can get another 100,000 on it easy before we have any major issues or need to look into upgrading again. So some of you might be wondering, where's that old farm truck? You may have seen it in the videos. It was a 2-door, 8-foot bed, 2004 Chevy 2500, and that was the first truck I had ever owned. It was 4-wheel drive. It was really nice, but it was getting rusty. It was starting to have some issues. I was gonna need to put a new bed on it within the next year or so here. That bed that was on it was falling apart. A cross member in the back was gonna need to get welded. It did have some motor issues. We did get those fixed, but it was just, it was showing more and more signs that it was gonna become a big issue for me. Being that I have a lot of other stuff going on in the background right now, I decided it was time to upgrade the truck. So then that's one less thing to worry about. Not that newer stuff can't break. It's definitely gonna have some issues here or there down the road, but at least the way I look at it, a vehicle like this, it's still worth something where I can have it nickel and dime me here and there. I can put some money into it and not feel like it's going to waste. Where that truck, it was kind of getting on the edge there where it's maybe if I wasn't going down the road with it very often, and maybe if it was just going from farm site to farm site within 5 minutes or something like that, or kind of an off-road truck, it probably would have been fine just for that, but it was going to need a lot of work. Like I said, the bed and the frame and the brakes too was another thing. Long term, there were signs of me having to stick a bunch of money into it or just commit and let it turn into one of those vehicles that ends up going to the scrapyard. So got rid of the truck while we were still ahead. I'm gonna miss that truck. Had a lot of good memories in that truck. Proposed to Darby in that truck. We went on a cool trip up north in that truck. Had a lot of good memories with River in that truck, you know, riding around with her in the back and things like that. And it was cool that you guys got to see a little piece of that and be part of that memory here on YouTube. But I'm excited to create many more memories with this truck. But as for other things that I want to do to this truck, I can't really think of anything offhand here. I'm very happy with it so far. The horn doesn't work, so maybe I'll look into that if I got time, but it's not too big of an issue for me. One day, maybe put a fifth wheel ball in it, especially if Dad's truck were to ever go down. It would be nice if this truck had one as well, even though I don't expect needing to haul a fifth wheel trailer or a gooseneck trailer very much. And while we're speaking of towing, I actually wasn't even really looking for a 1-ton. I was going to be happy with another 3/4 ton, but that's just another cherry on top for a good running truck that's in good shape and just happened to be a little heavier. I'm happy that we got a 1-ton. And all the trucks I looked at were all around the same price, and it's just awesome how this one really stood out and was in way better shape than those other trucks I looked at that day. So thank you to those guys at the dealership if they're watching this. They're great to work with. It was really last minute. Actually, when we were signing the paperwork, they were like, well, did you see the truck online? And I told them the story. I was like, nope. I literally was, you know, kind of bummed out about them other trucks and just swung right in and figured I'd check out this one as I was driving by. Literally seen it from the road, and it just happened to fit all the criteria that I was looking for. But anyways, we are going to end off the video here. If you guys have any recommendations of maintenance I should be doing to this truck around this age, or things I should add to it to make it even better, let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know what kind of trucks you guys got. I loved all those comments we got on Mason's new truck video. I'd love to know what you guys drive and what you guys depend on for work, so let me know down in the comments below. Remember, share, like, subscribe, and check us out at Gierok Farms. Get yourself some of this awesome merch. We got hoodies that are restocked. We got a bunch of sizes to choose from. You guys impressed us around Christmas time, you sold out of them in a hurry. So get them while you can here before winter's over, or they sell out again. That's at GierokFarms.com. But that is it. Thank you all for sticking to the end, and we will see you all next time.